I'm back. I'm back from my trip. It was a Korea trip that lasted from October 15th till November 7th, around a 22, 23 day trip, and it was awesome. I'm making this video because I want to talk about what I did and show you guys what I saw, what we ate, what we experienced. It might not be fun, but it's a little different, adding to more things in my channel. I know a lot of people will not like this. Because most of you guys are here for my Summoners War video, or maybe just gaming in general, but this is totally not gaming. You'll just see me talk, and then some footage intertwined in this video. I have to say again, it was an awesome trip. I think we went on the perfect time, the perfect season, which is right after the horrendous summer of Korea, which is really humid and hot, more of the humid part that destroys you, and with a lot of rain at the end of it, and then right before the extreme cold winter. If anybody is thinking of traveling to South Korea, I think this time frame is probably the best, because the other time frame that's really good is around spring, around March, April, May. And yes, the weather is nice. There are beautiful sceneries that you could see during those times as well. But there is that aspect of really bad air. I don't know what you call it in English. It's called Hwangsa, and it's all this sand there coming from like China, Sahara Desert, and it just destroys you. Everybody needs to keep masks on. It's actually to the point where if you don't have mask on, it will really do damage to your lungs. So I think the time frame that we went on is actually perfect. There's really nothing bad that goes on. So if anybody is planning to go to Korea, I do recommend this time frame. So the first week, I do want to talk about the first week. I'm not going to go into details on what we did because we got COVID the first week. I think my wife got COVID after the very first day, the second day of the trip. She didn't experience the first day. She started feeling cold-like symptoms the second day. And at that point, we still believed it was totally a cold because the symptoms that she was experiencing were things that she did experience before. In Korea, hospitals are really, really accessible. They're like everywhere. Just go into the city, look around, you'll see 10 hospitals. Like seriously, you'll see many hospitals. And then we went to the one specifically for her nose and throat because that's where she was having issues with. And boom, the nurse noticed right away. She thinks it's COVID, and we're standing there. Hey, no, I don't think it's COVID. I mean, she's having pain when she's swallowing in her neck and her ears. So we think it's something else. And she's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's COVID. And we're like, okay, yeah, we'll take the test because, I mean, better safe than sorry. 10 minutes later, oh yeah, it's COVID. In Korea, there's still the 7-day quarantine once you are diagnosed with COVID. Your name goes up, and that meant a lot of few things because we took the test right. We went to Jeju Island. And the trip for Jeju Island was set for 7 days. So already had our return flight reserved. And that was the issue because we arrived in Jeju Island at night. We took the test the next morning. And that respectively meant that we only had 6 days left until our return flight because we only reserved a week for the trip. But once you get COVID, you have to quarantine yourself for 7 days. At that point, you're diagnosed. So that means we had to cancel our flight back and stay a day more. That's what we did. And just to be safe for myself, because I also was kind of feeling an uncomfortable feeling when I was swallowing. It wasn't any pain or anything at that point, but I did feel uncomfortable. So I took the test as well, because if I got sick, or let's say super sick, and came in the middle of the quarantine, and if they diagnosed me with COVID, I'll have to stay quarantined for 7 days at that point as well. That meant our flight had to get pushed back again. We lose another 3-4 days in our trip, and I didn't want that. So I got myself tested, but I came out negative. That day I came out negative. It's totally true that COVID does not appear right away. I'm pretty sure I got it from my wife. After 2-3 days, I started feeling a lot of pain when I was swallowing. Had a slight fever. At that point, I still thought maybe it's not COVID, but I took the quick test. I forgot what you call that thing, but you take the test from home. I took that, and it came out positive. The good thing is that I didn't get diagnosed officially as a COVID positive patient in the hospital. I tested myself 1 day before we left, and I did come back negative. thankfully. So I was still able to take the flight back to Seoul. In Jeju Island, we really didn't get to do much. Like I said, we had to stay quarantined. I think it was like a soft quarantine. There's no real regulation. We were staying at Kitty's sister's place because she does have a half sister, a very young half sister. So I told her that we should stay there for a while in the beginning because I wanted them to, bond a little. And thankfully they did during this trip. But after the second day, because we knew that we had COVID, we let them know and we told them that we will be moving to the hotel that we reserved for later. So we had to reserve a couple more days at that hotel. We stayed there till the end. The hotel was really close. It was like 5 minutes walking distance, so that was great. We didn't eat in any restaurants. We definitely ordered everything. Korea delivery is really, really good. I mean, way better than the US for sure. So much cheaper, so many more options other than, the fast food options that you mostly get here. Yeah, you'll be seeing some photos going up here at this point when I talk about it. But yeah, we definitely ate a lot of delivery food with the awesome view that we had from our hotel because it was a very, very nice place compared to where we were initially staying. Yeah, we just took some small walks in the beach side because we were right in front of the beach. There's some kind of path there that people could walk around, and we just took some walks, making sure that we weren't close to anybody. But that was the entirety of the trip for the first week. Well, actually, before we went to Jeju Island, we did go to Seoul Lotte Tower, which is the really, really high tower that Seoul has. Might show you guys some videos or photos about that there. Nothing special. Like when you go up, you're just like, whoa, this is really, really high. And then you get to walk up a couple more floors, and then the view is just like, oh, I'm still really, really high. But we did take some photos there. It was pretty nice. But other than that, Jeju Island was a bummer. It was a bummer, to be honest, because we were planning to go around a lot more. Both of my parents and my wife's parents are from that island. It's not like we're not familiar with that place. So it wasn't really a tourist ground for us. We didn't have to go look at some places because we already looked at them when we were young and at a certain point of our age. So our goal was to eat some really, really nice fish food for my wife, raw fish, and for me, non-raw fish or just some other food, right? But sadly, we weren't able to do that because it is still a huge island. A lot of the nice places were in different areas, and just because we had to stay quarantined, we had to stay in one place, we weren't able to experience those foods. But again, delivery was not a letdown. It was still extremely nice. So at least we got our full rest for our first 7 days, and then we got back to Seoul. A few things that I want to tell people if they want to go to Jeju Island, because I really think that if you go to Korea, you should visit Jeju Island. It's like, well, how people say it, it's the Hawaii of the US. It's really, really nice. Driving conditions are definitely better than Seoul or any of the big cities in Korea. You definitely don't want to drive in the big cities in Korea. Well, if you love driving, sure, you could drive. But me being a detestful driver, I hate driving. I know that I won't drive. I'll never drive in Korea. More about Seoul. I'll never drive in Seoul or the big cities because it is so chaotic. Yeah, I just never drive there. I just can't get used to that driving condition. I just can't get used to how people get to go in those small alleys and also park in like the where the pedestrians walk. It's just weird. So I just can't drive there. But in Jeju Island, it is a lot better. Yes, they still have those narrow alleyways. You can avoid those if you don't want to drive there. You could just park a little further, and all the majority road, the big roads to get around, is definitely a lot better. And I do think it's much better to drive in Jeju if you want to get the full picture of the place in a couple days. But it is totally possible still, if you have a longer time like we did, like a week, it is totally possible to go around on a bus or a taxi. Taxis are a lot cheaper compared to America or Japan. So don't expect prices like that. It'll be a lot cheaper. And also buses are really well done there. Public transportation is 100 times, 200 times better than the US. Yeah, guys, but that was it for this one. That was the first week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I have enough things that I can add on into this video and that I can show you, and not make it too boring. But if there's any questions about the first week of our trip, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to let you guys know. I'll still be making some of these war videos. I'm just gonna be adding this as, you know, a sub video or just something to add on. I would like to just keep a log for my trip as well. That was it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.